All right, so this is a new show idea that I've been thinking about for a very, very long time. And I'm honestly not sure how consistent I'll be with this and if I'll do it every week or how long I'll do it for. But for the foreseeable future, I plan on trying to do a new Stephen King review every Saturday. We'll we'll see if I keep up with this one, but as of right now, I want to. So, welcome to Stephen King Saturdays. Saturday, yeah. Does that work? It starts with an S. There you go. And we're gonna kick this off with Storm of the Century, which is a 4-hour film that I just can't ever seem to get enough of. So, always been a big fan of this one. Born in lust, turned to dust. Born in sin, come on in. So yeah, I mean, this is one that I've seen, you know, sporadically. I'll watch it I'll watch it one year and then, maybe a few years will pass and then I'll just have this desire to watch it again. And then maybe sometimes like 3 months later, I'll watch it again. I've seen it a few times at this point. I don't know how many times I've seen it now, but I've seen it a good amount. And with it being 4 hours, it's kind of hard to remember everything about it. So I feel like every time I go back to it, I'm always like, oh yeah, I forgot about this part, being that long. Although I don't think I would ever forget a single second of The Lord of the Rings Return of the King Extended Edition, which is 4.5 hours long. So maybe I'm talking out my ass here. Whatever. Anyway, so this is a screenplay by Stephen King, not based off of his books, which is very interesting. They did make a book about this after the movie or after the screenplay, but this is not based on any pre-established novel or novella or any short or anything. This is purely for this mini series, and I'll tell you this, man, this is pretty beloved. From the people who like it, they fucking love it, man. Like, I have a few friends who are just so hardcore about this, and on IMDb, this has a pretty high rating, like a 7.4 or something. Like, this is a really loved one, and for good reason. The only real downside to this movie for me, like, outside of it being like a made for TV miniseries, and it's got that look to it, and it's in like, full screen presentation, that 4:3 aspect ratio. But outside of that stuff, the only thing I really don't like about the movie is when Andre Linoge keeps doing like the growling thing, and he has those like CGI teeth, and he's just like, I can't stand, I can't stand that. But honestly, almost everything else, yeah, some of the acting's a little hokey, and it has that made-for-TV feel to it. But I'm telling you, man, the people who love this film, they fucking love it just like me. This has a pretty good cult following to it. I really wish that there was a widescreen version of this. I don't know if that's how they shot it, and this is just the versions we've got, but that would be great. If there was like a widescreen formatted version of this movie and they could clean it up and do like an HD, Blu-ray transfer, oh man, I'd buy that for sure. So I don't know what they filmed this in, but I'd love to see a Blu-ray on this film. So yeah, this has Jeff DeMunn in it, who was in The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, and The Mist. So this guy's been in 4 Stephen King properties at this point. And the island that this takes place on is the same island that Dolores Claiborne takes place on. And in fact, in the movie, one of them references, I think it might be Hatch, but I can't be sure. They mention Dolores Claiborne and the death of her husband straight up, like outright by name. So this is very much connected to Dolores Claiborne. It's said, although the King verse, the King universe, is always connected. So that's of no surprise there. But yeah, this is the same island. And, what I found to be a little ironic here is that they're having the storm of the century right now in Texas, basically. And I threw this on, and then I found out about the Texas thing right there after. And I was going to lie to you guys for a second and be like, the reason I did this is because of the Texas thing. I wouldn't lie to you guys. I don't even know why that crossed my mind when it did. I was like, oh, I'm just going to tell them it was because of Texas. No, it wasn't. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh shit, that's damn. Watch out for Andrea Linoge. He's going to fucking come for one of your kids. So we get some panic shopping in the opening here. We're all familiar with this at this point during the pandemic. Everyone's rushing out to grab toilet paper. Still one of the dumbest fucking things. That's still going to be one of, if not the dumbest thing that we remember from the pandemic is people panic buying toilet paper. Like, of all the necessities, of all the things that you need to survive, toilet paper is not on that list. It's not on that list. Grab a fucking bucket of water and a rag. You'll be all right. People don't die from a dirty butt. It's just so funny how like people are like fighting over toilet paper. And I made fun of a friend for this, and he like really came back at me aggressively, like, yeah, we'll see what happens when you run out of toilet paper. It's like, I'll stink. I don't, not that worried about it. I have a shower. I have a fucking shower. So maybe if you like didn't have running water, I guess there's an issue. But even then, I think you're going to be okay. Fucking toilet paper. People are sheep. That really is what it comes down to. People see that a bunch of people are buying toilet paper and they're like, well, that must be a necessity. I better go get it. And let's go kill people for it. Outrageous. Anyway, it's very sad to know that the little girl who played Pippa in this movie died of an accidental overdose when she was 21 years old. So she's such a cute little kid. And to think that she died so unbelievably young from something so dumb is a damn shame, man. It really is. Now, the whole community... Now, I live in a small town, but I don't live in a town this small. It's appealing to me to a degree. I mean, idealistically, what I would personally like to do is I would like to live in a community where everyone knows and relies on each other. Unfortunately, a lot of the times when you start things like that, they turn into cults and everyone starts fucking and killing each other. So the first part of that sounds all right, but the second part, not so much. But yeah, I like this idea of like everyone kind of has a role. Everyone provides to the community and everyone just kind of like, they serve their purpose. And it's like, as long as you serve your purpose, you get, whatever anyone is making. Like, hey, you're the whatever guy. Like, I need this. All right, here you go. And then the other, your purpose, you serve. Which is basically how our community is set up. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's become very perverted, very gross. And there is a lack of a sense of community. Like someone comes and knocks at your door these days, you're like, hi. And you're like, who the fuck is here? Why is anyone here? I don't want to talk to me. I don't want to see anybody. I don't like living in a world like that. Like I want to know my fellow neighbor and be friends with them. And like when something happens in the community, we all band together and we all, that's just, I don't know. There's such a lack of that in at least my country, maybe that's true somewhere else, but not where I'm at. So when I look at this movie and everyone knows each other's names, everyone knows each other's, mild secrets. Linoge comes in and proves that they don't know each other's real secrets. And speaking of which, this is something that I've thought about on the channel many times. What would be the thing that Andre Linoge could use against me and say to the folks of this island? Like, I was really thinking about that. I was like, what would he have on me that I wouldn't want people to know. I can't really honestly come up with anything. I don't have a dark secret like that where I'd be like, oh my God, don't tell anybody. It's going to fucking get out and I'm going to be ruined, or I'm going to go to jail, or no one's ever going to talk to me again. Or I don't have that. Like, I really am. I'm like, I've tried to think about it. I'm a pretty open guy. Like, if you've watched my channel enough, you know how open I am. I don't really care. Like, I'll tell a story about literally anything that's happened to me in my life, and I'm fine with I'm fine with anyone knowing pretty much anything I've ever done, or not even pretty much everything I've ever done. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. I don't do stupid, awful things like that. I feel like people would stop. And even if people did stop talking to me over things I've done in the past, it's like, there's nothing I can do about it now. I'm not that worried about it. But I've never done anything so horrible that I'm worried that I'm going to like prison or something. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Linoge would have a serious issue with me. He'd say something and I'd be like, yeah, and don't forget. I'd like tack on extra. I'd be like, and he'd be like, I'm going to try a different island. This guy's fucking crazy. You know, if I was the Mike Anderson of this movie, I'd be like, shut the fuck up, Linoge. I'm the constable around here. Let me tell you about everyone in this town. I already know all your bullshit. I know about the marijuana business. I know about the prostitutes. I know about the abortions. But I do. I like that idea. I like that little idea of the small town. What do you guys think? Are you guys more of like reclusive in nature and kind of more introverted, or like, do you feel like there is a lack of a sense of community and you'd like to, contribute and feel like you have more of a purpose and a connection to those around you? That's my personal preference. But, it's not for everybody. Some people like how it is. I don't. And when I was watching it this time, Martha Clarendon gets killed. She's the first person to die. She's the old lady. And when Mike Anderson and Hatch go to the house, when they walk in, well, actually, it's the kid, the kid that finds her body first, and then Jeffrey DeMunn's character. But multiple times throughout it, there's a little bit of blood right in the foyer. And then her body is like behind a door in the kitchen. But like he hits her over the head right there in the doorway. She would drop right there in the foyer of the house. So why isn't she still there? I can't figure this out. He dragged her, but there's no blood anywhere. There's just like a little bit of blood in the foyer, right? But then in the kitchen is where her body is. I'm confused by this. He doesn't care. He doesn't need to move the bodies. He wants people to find him. He kills somebody, leaves the door open, and is like waiting to be arrested. Now, he has to, bank on that somebody's going to walk by, that the door is going to be open? Or does he like coax that kid into coming to the house? Whatever it is, I don't understand why she's moved. This I can't figure out. There'd be no reason for him to move her. And there's no evidence that she was moved. He didn't knock her back that fucking far. That's outrageous. If that's the claim, he knocked her across the entire house, then there wouldn't be a pool of blood at the door. If he knocked her back, the blood wouldn't pool until she hit the ground on the other side. So that just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And the born in lust, turned to dust, born in sin, come on in line. I was listening to it this time, and I was waiting, and I was hoping that there was going to be an explanation for this, but I you don't get one. And I didn't put much thought into it, but just kind of re-going it over it in my head. I'm assuming like born in lust, turned to dust. The born in sin, come on in. Maybe Martha Clarendon was born out of wedlock, and so she's like like a baby of sin, and so he has the ability to kill her and come into her house because of that? Like, I don't. What is this line? Explain it to me. I'm stupid. I don't get it. I like it though. I like the way he delivers it because the actor who plays Linoge is very much embodying Anthony Hopkins' Silence of the Lambs. It feels like the same character a lot of the time, especially since like a good majority of this film is him locked in a cage talking to people on the outside who are asking him questions. I mean, it's very Silence of the Lambs, and he very much plays like Hannibal Lecter, so that would make sense. And let's see. You got a Stephen King cameo on the TV. He's in this lawyer commercial. And even though the Linoge knowing everything about everybody thing would not really work super well on me, at least I don't think. I mean, nothing off the top of my head, to be honest. I mean, he could throw wild accusations and make it look like he was right, but I don't really have anything, but whatever. Anyway, a lot of people do. This movie shows that, and it is true. There's a lot of people who have lots of crazy secrets. This is an insane superpower to have. Just like everyone's dirty laundry, everyone's secrets. Really knowing basically everything anybody's ever done is a wild super villain power. And he has this, and he uses it like really well. Now, he has this like it's weird. The rules and his parameters are interesting because he can't take one of the kids. He can't just take one of them. They have to agree to give them up. So in that, the rules are as such. He purposely, and he only does this ever once. Maybe this is the first time he's ever done it because he's taking on an error, and he says that, you know, his body, while it looks old to you guys, and, you know, it's still going to outlive all of you because they age that slow. And when we see him, he's aged up a decent amount by the next time we see him, and I feel like it's only been like 10 years. So maybe once he takes on a protege, he starts aging really fast. But it's not because we like see the real him, because when we see the real him, he's real old looking. When we see him at the end, he just looks weathered. He just looks older, but he don't look that old. But yeah, so the rules with him though is like, I'm trying to like figure that stuff out, like vampires or werewolves or something. Like, he can't take the kids. Possibly born in sin come on in. If you're born in sin, he's able to enter your homestead. I don't know. But he purposely antagonizes the town to where they're so terrified of him that they'll give up their kids. Now, I guess once the game is played and everyone grabs their stone, that there's no pulling back from that. Like, they've already agreed to the terms of the game, and at that point, it's too fucking late, right? It has to be that way because Mike Anderson and his wife are like freaking out. And we're going to get there because his wife can suck a dick. But at the same time, I get it. But we'll get there. The dialogue in this feels like a book. I mean, this, you can always tell when a novelist, especially Stephen King, writes something. The dialogue, the voiceovers, narration, it's all novel written. Like, the structure of how it is. It's not how people normally talk. It feels like you're reading one of his books when they're talking. So, you know, it works. It works, but at the same time, it's noticeable. And Martha Clarendon has her face smashed in, but we never do get to see that because this is made for TV, PG stuff. And I like how Linoge is like so calm, very Hannibal Lecter-esque. Like, you can be scary as like creepy or super intense, or you can also be scary by just being completely like level. When crazy shit's going down, you're just sitting there like da da da. They just don't need the hissing bullshit teeth thing. That does not work. And I feel like this is a pretty ambitious project for the outdoor shooting because it always has to be snowing. So that must have upped the budget of this. No crime or murder takes place on the island at all before this. How wonderful does that sound? That sounds fucking fantastic. This is what I'm talking about. Although things like this do, as I said, turn into cults. Linoge lets this dude know that hell is repetition and that his mom is waiting for him in hell to just continue to consume him, eat him alive, rip out his eyeballs. That's terrifying. And Mike Anderson is a constable, which is like an elected peace officer that has like very little police-like authority, but just enough. And then the other dude is a town manager. He's not even a mayor or anything. He's appointed by like the mayor, and he kind of proceeds over, the goings on. So these are two interesting titles that both of these guys carry because in these movies it's typically the sheriff and the mayor. And this one it's like a step down for both of them. But it's such a small town that's basically the guys who rule the town anyway. So you would think they'd just be mayor. Although I think there is a mayor, but is there a cop? Is there a sheriff? I don't think so. I think this town only ever calls for a constable because there's never any crime on the island. Give me what I want and I'll go away. This is played throughout so many times. And it also, fun fact, is my favorite pickup line to use at the bar. Just walk up to a girl and say, give me what I want and I'll go away. Imagine using the Linoge on her. Just look at your friends and be like, see that girl over there? I'm going to Linoge her. And they're going to be like, bro, no more Linoge. It's so rapey. That'd be awesome. And yeah, I mean, he's in it for the long game. He's there to fuck with them and antagonize them. But he has control. And this is where the parameters, the rules of his powers are kind of iffy to me to a degree. I think at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is that people have to do things out of free will when it comes to giving the kids, and that there is an ability to break his curse. I mean, this is shown with Billy. I think it's Billy. His girlfriend gets pregnant. She aborts the baby, and Linoge tries to make him kill her, and he won't do it. And Linoge is furious by this and is like, you fucking coward. And he makes the girlfriend come back and kill him instead because she's in a much weaker spot than he is. Like, he didn't really care about her. This girl is the one who's abused. This is the girl who's in love with the guy. So she's way more hurt, and she's way more susceptible to Linoge's powers in this situation. So you can resist him. You can. It's just hard. And he makes multiple people kill themselves in this. In fact, there are 6 deaths, I want to say, or 8 deaths and 1 taken. So we get 8 dead people in this. And Linoge is, of course, responsible for every one of them. And he clearly makes that door stick because he wants to come in through the front door just to antagonize everybody. He's a dick, man. And I love the line where he encounters Mike's kid, and the kid's like, why are you wearing those handcuffs? And he says, because I choose to. That is so fucking scary. That reminds me of the scene in Man of Steel, Superman movie, where he's like in the interrogation room wearing handcuffs, and then like he's like, all right, enough playing around. He just gets up and he just like moves his arms, and the handcuffs just snap instantly. That's so great. The amount of power, this vulgar display of power, if you will, because I choose to. Probably might be my favorite line of the whole film. It just shows his power and his cunning and his patience. Like, I'm playing the long game. Like, I'm wearing these handcuffs to give the illusion that there's safety. He's scary, man. He's scary. He's a scary villain. And I don't understand why their kid is on the loose in that little shop anyways. Like, why the fuck is he running around? Is he supposed to be downstairs or like in a room or something? I don't know, but that kid's running around with there's like a killer coming through the front door. This is just shitty parenting from his shitty mom. His mom sucks, man, at the end of this movie. But I don't know. We'll get there. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm with Mike, but I don't know. Maybe Mike's wrong. Maybe because I'd want to fight, but you ain't taking one of my girls. You just ain't taking one of my girls. I'll figure out to beat you, Linoge. There's no fucking way you're taking one of my kids. And let's see. Dairy is mentioned in this. No surprise there. And then Linoge makes a couple dudes kill themselves. One guy takes an axe to the face, and the other one hangs himself. I couldn't imagine putting an axe through my own face. You have any idea how hard you'd have to hit yourself with an axe? Like, just to be able to, like, put an axe right into your face and kill you? I don't know. Could you? Could you swing an axe hard enough into your face like this to kill you? I'm sure it's possible, but it seems like it would be really, really fucking hard. Like, you'd really have to swing it, and you're swinging it like this. There's not like a lot of force being generated doing that. So I don't know. Could you? Yeah, I guess you could, but man, it'd definitely be tough. I like how Mike's secret is that he cheated on one college test. That's it. And he's like, oh, why don't we tell your kid that your dad cheated his way through college? It's like, that's it? That's all you've got? My kid finding out that I cheated on a midterm? Fucking have at it, bro. And get lost. Like, he's got nothing there. A cheating on a midterm. Who gives a shit? And then we find out that these three dudes jumped a gay guy, and now he's lost an eye and wears a paisley eye patch, and they jumped him because they liked the way his hair looked, and they're clearly have gay tendencies. This like line of dialogue here from Linoge is probably the most Hannibal Lecter-esque dialogue and delivery in the film. The way he's like, and he had blonde curly hair, and you like the way that it looks, but you wouldn't say it to each other. Like, it's very Hannibal. Very Hannibal. Linoge gets shot out and ends up catching the bullet. So that's terrifying. I like the line of dialogue between the girlfriend and the boyfriend, the one that had the abortion. And when he's like getting down on her, even though he's out having an affair, this kid's a fucking little pussy, little piece of shit. Like, she found out he was cheating on her. She didn't want to depend on him to do the right thing, to be there, and she was scared. She's young, and she went and had an abortion. And then he comes at her and says, like, that baby was half mine. And then her retort to that, which is just great. She's like, oh, sure. Now that it's gone, it's half yours. That's amazing. That's fucking amazing. Like, oh, you made this decision. I guess you killed our baby, this and that. You were out cheating on me, you fucking prick. You have no say over what I do with my body, so fuck you. Yeah, what a pussy, man. Billy. That is, what a fuck. And it's so sad. Her performance there is great. It's really fucking sad. I feel super bad for this girl, genuinely. Like, she deals with so much in this moment. Like, she's dealing with the fact that her secret has gotten out, that she had this abortion. She has to confront him about the affair that he was having, or the cheating that he was doing, whatever you want to call it. And then, like, when she has this like breakdown with him, she's like, how could I trust you? I never said no to you. Never once. Like, every single time Billy wanted sex, she was there. And she's like, I gave you sex every single time you asked me for it, and you still went out with the town pump, as she calls her. This is rough, man. This is rough to, like, literally give this guy everything you have. You find out you're pregnant, and then you find out he's fucking around on you, and you have like 100% certainty in your mind that he's not going to do the responsible thing and be with you. Rough. This poor girl. And then she's manipulated by Linoge in her weakened state to kill this guy, and then fucking freaks out about it because she doesn't want to actually do that. So I feel like this is, one of the saddest moments of the film, except for Mike losing his kid. That's a little rougher for sure, but besides that, that's definitely the saddest shit. The old lady who's like calling her a whore, and the girl's like, shut up, mom. Total busybody. Linoge has no tags on his clothing. I thought this was interesting. Like, what are they trying to say by this? Because I was thinking Linoge just stole clothes or took possession of somebody's body. We know that's his actual body, so that's not what's happening. But, like, Linoge didn't just grab clothing. Like, what did he do? Fashion the clothing out of his body, and it just mirrored it to look like human clothing. And when they go to look at it, there's no tags, there's no inseams, there's no nothing. It's just like, I guess, mimicked material, right? That's kind of cool. He never changes much outside of like when he does that like filter thing where he like puts the cane over himself, which kind of like acts as a wand, or a staff, and he like shows people his real appearance. But anyway, yeah, he doesn't have full control of people. We already talked about it. We've actually already talked about a lot of this stuff. This old woman drowns herself in a sink. Reminds me of 1408. Drowned in a bowl of soup. How do you do that? And makes Robbie see his mom. Yeah, Robbie's the town manager. This prick. He was out with a prostitute while his mom was dying, and then he makes this guy see his mom, and like she's crying from hell and telling him she's gonna eat his eyeballs over and over again. This is brutal, man. And he was cheating on his wife while he was doing that, and his wife decides that she's gonna leave him once this is all over. But I'm assuming that once this happened, this brought them back together. He doesn't deserve her for sure. Then everyone in town has the same dream, and this basically confirms in every one of the people in town outside of Mike that Linoge means business. He's going to kill the entire town because they keep referencing Roanoke, the town that mysteriously disappeared a long time ago. And then we find out that Linoge is an anagram for Legion. They always do that. They always got to make it an anagram, which is fine. But we find out it's Legion for we are many. But that line doesn't really apply here because Linoge is just one. Although he does take on an apprentice, so I guess they are more than one. I don't know. And then don't give the kid all of you, like, the kids will die and then I'll make every one of you walk out straight into the ocean 2 by 2, like formation. Give up one of the kids of the 8 on the island. Otherwise, I'm going to kill all the kids. And then they're, of course, arguing like, look, the life's going to be better for them. They get to live longer. They'll get to learn and travel. Like, it's not so bad. And it's, as me, as the parent sitting there, it's like, oh, fuck no. Especially, like, what if you had twins like I do, or more than one kid? They didn't address that at all. Like, what happens? You have to draw 3 stones? Like, nah. No. And Mike, when he goes up and confronts, and he's, like, trying to talk everyone out of it, he's yelling at everyone, don't do it, don't do it. And, he tells people, like, that's it, I'm out. Like, I told you guys, I don't want any part of this. Fuck you guys. My kid's not in on this. And the wife, it felt like everyone was going to be like, all right, fuck off then. Like, you're not a part of this town anymore. Take your stupid kid and get the fuck out of here. And I'd be like, cool, I'll take my stupid kid and get right the fuck out of here. I'm fine with that. Call him whatever you want. But the wife steps in and is like, no, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to pony up our kid. And I feel like he already had the crowd convinced. And so to me, she's the one that loses the kid. Yes, at the end of the day, it's Linoge's fault, no doubt. But the second amount of blame definitely goes on her. Definitely goes on her. She pissed me the fuck off in this movie. And she stepped around the corner and she's like, no, he's playing. It's like, what are you doing? These people were going to let this kid go. Go. And I get it. She's part of the town. I'm being hypocritical now, but she's part of the town. She's part of the community. Everyone helps each other out. But no, I told you, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to turn around and tell Linoge to go fuck himself. I don't care. But at the end of the day, is he right or is he wrong? As soon as the kid is taken, the town reverts back to normal, so to speak. And no one dies. And I do believe. I gotta stop recording these videos so fucking late. I just don't have any other time to do it. I know I've said that a million times. Sorry. But yeah, what do you do? What do you do in those situations? She, let everyone die because you don't want to give up one kid? Yeah, maybe. For me, yeah, I don't want to live without one of my kids. Legitimately, I don't want to live without them. So if you're going to take one of my kids, no, I'd rather us all die. Let's just all die. Now, they're not going to be tortured and murdered, but they're going to become a villain. They're going to become an Andrew Linoge. Andre Linoge. They're going to go out there and they're going to fucking wreak havoc and kill people like this thing did. And I don't want my kid to be that. That doesn't sound like a very prosperous, fulfilling life. It sounds horrible. Does Linoge look happy? He sure as fuck doesn't. All the kids go up and pet his cane, which makes him pass out. There's a Bill Cosby joke somewhere in there, but I can't come up with it this late. So yeah, we find out he's dying. He wants to pass on all of his knowledge to a protege. Now, whether or not he can possess his body and take him over so that he never has to die, that wouldn't surprise me. And Mike's is just adamant on, no, fuck that, please don't do this, and he tries to fight back, but the town starts beating the shit out of him. What are you gonna do in that point? And yeah, the people try to see the best side of it they can. They're like, oh, it's basically, he's not being kidnapped, he's basically being adopted, whatever you gotta tell yourself. And let's see. Yeah, the mom says she'll be a part of this. Fuck that is what I wrote. That's funny. Mike is the only one who opposes the vote at all. One vote to the contrary. Not one other single person in this town had the fucking guts to stand up and be like, fuck Andre Linoge. And this is a pretty dark ending that doesn't happen very often. typically in something like this, they'd beat the villain, right? And or it would like look like they were gonna beat the villain, but then like in the last second they didn't. But this one is just like, no, you're agreeing to give up your kid. He gives up the kid, he takes the kid, and he leaves. And then the kid, he sees him later, and the kid is grown up, and he's become a demon, and it goes to credits. Like, that's fucking dark. That's a dark ending. That's not typical for movies like this. They usually figure that out and save the kid and all that, but not this time. And what is Linoge? Like, what is he exactly? Is he death? What? I don't really know what he is. And oh my god, imagine reaching into that bag and reaching and grabbing a stone and just being like, did I just give my kid away? No fucking way, man. No fucking way. And it's so ironic, of course, that this kid, but you know it's going to be him from moment one because they give him an identity marker. And once you find out he wants a kid, you're like, oh, it's going to be this kid because we're going to get a flash forward, and he's the only one with an identifying marker on his body. Like, he has this fairy saddle on his nose, and which means that fairies are sitting on his face. Yikes. But yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, tough situation altogether. What can you do? And then the mom tries to freak out once she draws the black stone. Fuck you. She's like, no, you can't take him. Really? I thought we were all participating. I get it. You thought you were going to stay strong to this, but now that it's happened to you. But it was bullshit. You rolled the dice. You were like, well, 1 in 8 chances. That's not bad. I'll go for it. And what happened to you, then all of a sudden, what would she have been saying? What would she have been saying if it was Pippa? Or the little freaking annoying bully fat kid from Cat in the Hat? What would it be then? Bet she wouldn't be speaking up then. I bet she'd be like, time for me to get going with my kid. Oh man. Linoge, and not only does Mike tell his wife, like, fuck off, don't ever touch me again, which I don't blame him at all, 100%. Break up for that. But yeah, I mean, the question is, like, what do I do in that situation? If I really think he's going to kill all of us, would I give one of my kids away? No. I just let us all die. I'd be, fuck it. Kill them. Kill me. Kill them. I can't. Sorry, everybody, but it's not happening. Linoge tells them all, don't ever speak of me. It'll be bad for you. So I definitely don't want to find out what that is. Yeah, I like that Mike never forgives his wife, and that Hatch ends up marrying his wife. That was an interesting death as well. I was going to talk about the deaths next. That's a very interesting series of events there, that Hatch ends up marrying his ex-wife. And then he's also happy for him. He says, I'm truly, genuinely happy for him. So that's good on him. There's a bunch of mysterious deaths around the island. I'm going to assume those are people who tried to talk about it. And Linoge did not have any of that shit. And then he sees Son, and his son is a lost cause. He's this creature. He's this demon. Who the fuck knows? And so he loses his kid. He sees him one last time. Sees he's become a monster, and he's just off learning the ways of the world and everyone's secrets and whatever the fuck Linoge is teaching him. So, yeah, man. I mean, there's something about this film that's very comforting. It's just like, a warm blanket or something. When I throw this on, it's always such a good time to me. It's funny, I was watching it this time and I was like, this is pretty slow. The acting is not amazing everywhere. It looks kind of like shit. The story is fairly simplistic, and it's 4 hours long. So you're thinking, like, this movie's gotta be getting old by now. No, I feel like every time I watch it, I'm like, oh man, I like it more. So, I don't know what I would consider his best mini series on on TV, but this would definitely be a strong contender. I could see this being my favorite of his miniseries, but I don't know. I really love the Langoliers, as you guys know. I did that on a Monster Monday, but yeah, this could be seriously in the running for. What's yours? What's your favorite Stephen King miniseries? And how did you like this? How'd you like? I know it's just kind of basic, typical video. It's not really any different. But what do you think about the idea of a Stephen King video, a Stephen King related video every week? What do you think? Let me know if you're still here. If you're still here, you like the idea. If you're not here, then you're not going to be telling me. Or you stayed this whole time just to tell me how much you didn't like it, which is dedication, and I appreciate it. Anyways, all right. Yeah, adios.